Hey everyone, this is the comments and corrections video for how Tears of the Kingdom fixes the Zelda timeline. I can't start this video without thanking everyone. The last video has exploded like crazy. I still don't know how it happened. I'm still processing, but at the time of this video, it's coming up to 250,000 views and 2,000 comments, which is just crazy. It's just ridiculous. I figured people would think it was amateur, which it is, but I figured people wouldn't watch it or they'd tell me in the comments that the theory was dumb, the video was dumb, stuff like that. Just the discussions that are happening in the comments, how people are agreeing and disagreeing and trying to prove or disprove it or giving their own theories. That's exactly what this channel is all about, and I'm extremely happy that's what's happening. Everyone who's watched, didn't watch all the way, commented or didn't comment, I appreciate it. I appreciate everyone, and I thank you for giving me the time to explain my thoughts. There's a few popular questions that keep popping up, so I figured it would be good to just go over them and explain more what the theory is suggesting. I wish I could answer everyone, but there's way too many comments to reply to, so I'll do my best now to answer the big questions. I'll try to reply in the comments. Maybe later I can do a video specifically for comments with theories some of you had. Comment: Tears of the Kingdom takes place directly after Skyward Sword. Officially, this should be impossible, and the main proof for that is the Rito in the past. In canon, the Rito evolved during the Great Flood before the events of Wind Waker. That would mean the past of Tears of the Kingdom has to take place at least after Wind Waker in the adult timeline. But since it has elements from all three timelines, including Zora, which do not coexist with the Rito in the adult timeline, it's proof that somewhere there's emerging. For Tears of the Kingdom to be directly after Skyward Sword, you'd have to figure out where the Rito come from, because then it wouldn't be from the adult timeline anymore. Comment: Rauru and Sonia founded the first Hyrule. I suggest he only thinks it was the first. Going back to the Rito Sage, if we use that as proof that the past of Tears of the Kingdom is after the other games, then Rauru can't have found the first Hyrule Kingdom. My logic is, we do know before he showed up in Hyrule, it was settled by tribals, and it's the tribals Rauru brings together to fight Ganondorf. It's not too crazy to suggest that maybe over time, the previous Hyrule Kingdom dissolved into different tribal groups. And since there was no kingdom when Rauru showed up, he thinks the kingdom he starts is the first. It's not confirmed, it is just my theory, but I think it does sound plausible. Also remember, Rauru isn't the only Rauru we have in the series. We do have Ocarina of Time Rauru, who even says he built the Chamber of Sages to seal away the Sacred Realm, which happens just between Skyward Sword and Ocarina of Time. There's also possible evidence in Skyward Sword that there was already a Hyrule Kingdom that disappeared before that game. In this video by Rated N, he goes over the theory, which if true, means it wouldn't be the first time that Hyrule Kingdom had fallen and been restarted. I'll post a link to the video below so you can check it out. Comment: Zelda was never in the past until Tears of the Kingdom. The game actually proves she was before it's even hinted at that time travel is a thing. In the scene where Zelda and Link find a sealed Ganondorf, when he wakes up, he recognizes Zelda, and he correctly guesses who Link is. Remember, this is before Zelda goes back in time. How would Ganondorf know who Zelda was if she was never in the past? Ganondorf only recognizes her because he knew her before he was sealed. Comment: The Light Dragon wasn't in Breath of the Wild. Zelda changed the past, that's why the dragon, geoglyphs, and sky islands exist in the present. There is no logical or magical reason that could happen. The Light Dragon isn't in Breath of the Wild because Nintendo didn't have the idea for a Light Dragon when they were making the game. But you can also explain it with this idea called the Novikov self-consistency principle. Don't freak out. I do have I will explain it. I have pictures. Quick shout out. There's a YouTuber called Wiz Catches Lightning. He's done some pretty interesting Zelda videos. His latest I'll link below, but he is currently working on a response video to my theory, so definitely check that out when it releases. For that though, I made this diagram which shows how Tears of the Kingdom has to be on a single timeline. And what I mean is there are no alternate timelines like we get in Ocarina of Time. The Novikov idea basically says that history has happened in a specific way to lead up to the future that happens that would allow the event where time travel occurs. Meaning, if we are assuming Zelda was never in the past, just her showing up would cause a different series of events that wouldn't lead up to her actually finding sealed Ganondorf and going back in time. It wouldn't even lead up to Breath of the Wild or even the Calamity, because those things only happened like they did because history happened in a specific way as it did to lead up to those events. This also causes an issue with the Master Sword. Remember, it got sent back after Zelda did, and it arrived after Zelda had been in the past for a bit. If Zelda was never in the past originally, her arriving would make an alternate timeline where she affected events that originally she would never have affected. This also means she wouldn't be in the past of the original timeline, so the Master Sword would go back to a point where there was no Zelda in the past. This would cause another timeline split, because if the Master Sword was never in the past, it would then create a timeline where it was. In terms of the light dragon and the geoglyphs and the islands in the sky, the game doesn't specifically say, unless I'm not aware of something, you can correct me below. It never specifically says they show up because of the upheaval or time travel. With the geoglyphs, Impa only says they appear after the upheaval itself. Now, there are different explanations you could come up with that aren't related to time travel. The one that makes sense to me is that with the geoglyphs, maybe Zelda as the light dragon made them appear because she knew Princess Zelda had just gone back, and she knew that Link would need help to defeat Ganondorf. This would also explain where the shrines come from, why they weren't in Breath of the Wild. They weren't needed then. They were only needed during the events of Tears of the Kingdom to help Link train so he could defeat Ganondorf. Whether they appear because of the Light Dragon or they appear because of the Spirit of Rauru, I don't know, but that would be an explanation. As to where the islands and the Light Dragon were during the entire history, why they weren't in Breath of the Wild, again, it's Nintendo's fault. They didn't think up these ideas until they were writing Tears of the Kingdom. A plausible explanation is that they were hidden by the cloud barriers, something similar that you see in Skyward Sword. That cutscene that shows Zelda separating the clouds at the start of Tears of the Kingdom, that could have been her breaking the cloud barrier and allowing Link to jump between the surface and the Sky Islands. I will go over the time travel aspect in extreme detail in a coming video, so if it doesn't make sense now, I can explain more in the comments if you need help. Hopefully soon I'll have a video on it. But for now, those are all of the big ones I can think of. I don't think I've missed any, but if I did, let me know. The next video was supposed to be about time travel in the entire series, but there's so much explaining and diagrams that to make sure no one passes out or has an aneurysm, I have to split it up into multiple videos. Meaning, the next thing will be a series on time travel in The Legend of Zelda. If there's anything you still have questions about, or you think my evidence or thoughts don't work, let me know below. If there's anything in general you want me to take a look at, not necessarily Zelda related, let me know too. But for now, that's all I've got. Thank you for commenting and thanks for watching.